Hey, Nautilus. No, I usually mute my mic at the start so I can do setup without making noise on stream. I did, in fact, remember to unmute, like the stream title says. Okay, so, I went through, and I played back to more or less, it's just before the point that I messed up and accidentally muted myself for half an hour. So...
Miss Lestrade, is what this gentleman is saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't ever laid eyes on that dandy before.
Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? A ticket you brought in here just now.
No,
wow. I slip into, like, old lady, like,
no.
like...
No, I swear it. I swear to God.
It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Yes, thank you, Doug Dimmadome. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. Going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police.
Hold on. Why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cove, and you think I'm the dodgy one?
I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you.
Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen Symphony? Come on, let's see it.
Oh, I have evidence, naturally.
You what?
Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman.
Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windybank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place.
Yes, brilliant. Very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Oh.
Never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. It allows me to take contraband in without any sort of accountability on my part, don't you know? But why not? I just told you. Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see.
Sorry, give me a sec. And I will remember to unmute this time. I swear, I'm gonna be kicking myself for so long for that, because it was such a stupid blunder. And it doesn't help that, it's happened before, it's just never happened for that long of a period of time.
But then, how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir. Might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course. It's Professor. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. A watchword? Interesting. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windybank. Hey, Squiggles, how are you doing? As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities a secret. Why is my throat being like this? Fallen on the edge of a food coma? That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it?
Great detectives have no dark secrets. None at all.
Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault, even though that would be significantly more secure. Date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. Sholmes rocks up with the with the watchword "Noppet." And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir. Yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on the 15th of February. With the watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir.
But how?
Really, this is beyond a joke now. There's no further room for doubt. Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the Inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. And anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really.
My name is My name is Susato Mikotoba, and I'm Mr. Naruhodo's assistant.
I see. Why is my throat so scratchy tonight? I literally had a day off to recover. My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. Enchante. He's so refined in how he holds himself, and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. And, friggin' Curio Correcto was not? Now, to the matter at hand. My overcoat, return it at once. To someone with the style to carry it off. Hey, Gina has the style to wear that overcoat.
Every move he makes, every breath he takes, I can't stand watching him.
It didn't quite come out in her voice, but... So let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back.
This is why I ate grown-ups.
Wow, that's not...
Just because I'm a diver, everything thinks that makes me a liar.
And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Just this one. Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc? Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you?
Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style.
Wait a minute. That disc is mine.
What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
Oh my. Yes, there's blood on the disc.
It's because of all those sharp little bumps. Man must have scratched his finger on him, but he had gloves on.
I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it. Well, you take it.
Me?
If I hang on to it, they'll have me off again. So you keep hold of it.
Miss Lestrade, why is this disc so important to her? You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please.
No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars.
What do I do now? How am I gonna resolve this? Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So, you've found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to preoccupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. And so, feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Sholmes' caramel. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know? Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you?
Poor Mr. Sholmes. I feel simply awful for you.
It would seem that my inferences are correct.
Oh, and surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again.
My dear madame, Sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized? How much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. But who knows if it'll help resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Give us your deduction, Mr. Sholmes. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear that you find yourself in something of a predicament.
Where in the blue blazes have you been, eh?
Pardon?
When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help, straight away. Not an hour later. Or not an hour later.
Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? That's very close to Sholmes' voice, whoops. Mr. Eggert Benedict, you have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon? The first is this. The true reason you visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with the intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg.
It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction.
Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what basis you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. There's a picture of a dog in the background. The pawnbroker has a little framed picture of a dog on his desk. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutch to your person exhibits an uncontrovertible contradiction. Not a rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. Ferrule? I think that's how that's pronounced. Ferrule? Ferrule? The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of the stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there's only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is there something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Is it perchance a pipe bomb? I'm sorry. I'm gonna be stuck on this for the rest of the game, and probably into Mario RPG as well. Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. Also, give me a sec. I'm gonna raise my mic real quick. This might be loud. I didn't quite raise it up as high as I usually do. What walking cane demands such a stout handle, mused I? But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have deduced you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this, and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins to another. That joins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in very close proximity, apparently. That flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Quite serious. Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not quite your voice. I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway. And the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you've been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of the bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes's great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road, and what was in its vault? Indeed. Though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence.
But you just announced it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact.
Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly, it is because the man is a criminal.
But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret.
Oh. Or if he doesn't. Maybe Mr. Windybank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. On my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. An excellent idea.
Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure.
Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again, and see if we can massage it into shape. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes's magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. There you go, it took almost exactly 30 minutes to get back to the spot that I realized that I fucked up at. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured into this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had a redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. So, by Mr. Sholmes's reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor.
Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road.
But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he?
But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he?
No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? I love that little drawing of Gina. That's so cute.
Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here.
I don't believe it.
What is it?
Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2", short. Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade.
Goodness.
There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although, if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure.
And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windy Banks Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline 15th of April.
Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper?
Take that!
Yes. What brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket, Miss Lestrade, and to Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today. By which I mean, I just had to look over at my OBS to make triple sure that I didn't forget to unmute. I'm gonna be dealing with that doubt for like for the next like 25 streams. The last time I remember accidentally doing something like that, other than the Ace Attorney stream last time, was probably Fire Emblem 7, which was genuinely over a year ago. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today. By which I mean, here to Windy Bank's Pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So, you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you've gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutch in your person exhibits an uncontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. Ferrule. What's a ferrule?
It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ah, the bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement.
Yes, exactly. And Mr. Sholmes is right, it appears to be missing on this cane.
But it doesn't actually look broken, does it?
No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious.
In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Look here, Miss Susato. There are some letters on the handle.
Ah, yes. Those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names.
So Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean?
That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh.
AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet in a most possessive manner you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't. You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle with which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat. And now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name. And claiming that the overcoat belongs to him.
But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue.
So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Is it gonna be the ripped seam here?
Oh, the seam on the shoulder here is coming apart. Look.
So it is.
Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it was probably the sound of this seam ripping open.
You look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. Sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart.
That I'd like to see.
Sorry?
So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around?
Well, he is giving this some thought.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalog of untruths has been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windybank. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of pawnage. Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner, using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place, could I possibly have known the relevant details? What is this, ne sais pas? I think is how that's pronounced. Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn.
The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think.
Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. Which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword.
Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article.
Or looking at it another way. You did know that word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? There's a picture of a cat. Look at this, Miss Susato.
Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windybank has scribbled to himself.
Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor. Mr. Windybank must make note of the watchwords his customer give him right before their eyes. And an alarmingly clear script as well.
Oh dear. I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see?
Take that!
The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer decides to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. He then consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. Expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside, and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Which brings us to at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? What, serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? no idea what you're talking about. That's not... I keep wanting to do judge voice for him, but it's not judge voice. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets.
Which, according to Mr. Windybank, isn't even worth a penny.
And yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why?
I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo.
Could we? Really? I'd better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. Yeah, all one piece of it.
Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck under the reverse side of the disc, too. And scribbled a word or two. It looks like somebody's name.
It says for McGilded.
For McGilded.
McGilded? It couldn't be.
But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget, for as long as I live.
But why? Why is his name on this? Look at all the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny.
Yes, the protrusions are called pins, and they pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. And just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood.
Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Eggert Benedict.
When Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, the pin scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and accidentally catch your finger.
Ugh. That makes my fingertips hurt. Ouch. Just thinking about it hurts. Puts me off eating radish. I've definitely, I've caught my fingers on mandolins more times than I would, care to admit.
Take that!
I worked food prep at the same place that I do dishwashing at, actually. And I've cut my fingers more times than I can count over there. You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads, for McGilded. Ugh. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature, in fact. In fact, he was precisely the right size for that overcoat you've squeezed yourself into. Ugh. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Ugh. Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances.
Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind.
Pray tell, Miss Susato.
Well, according to what Mr. Windybank told us earlier, Today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. It would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Today is the 15th of April, so 2 months ago today. Been the 15th of February, sir, that's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see. What? But that suggests...
Yes, 15th of February.
It's precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place.
And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding.
Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However, I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? No. There's some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. And again, it may not.
Hold it!
Mr. Windybank, this is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Mr. Windybank, no! Alright, that's enough. Who is this? Oh. Inspector Gregson. Inspector. That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's this all about, eh? Oh, praise be. You're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life and my very own establishment. It would seem you have the upper hand. You lot have some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy.
Petty? Mr. Windybank very nearly met with his end.
Yeah, by his own gun, as far as I can tell. Oh dear. The whole of Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're going to have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. Ah! He's getting away! Get after him, lads. So the beat officer, too. Sir. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in Mourning. Oh, yes? I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. Hand it over. Oh, yes, of course.
No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine.
I'm sorry, miss. Anything belonging to McGilded has been taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. And so we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson. And we were summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street.
See? That's why I hate grown-ups. All they do is feed you a pack of lies, then take stuff away from you.
Oh, really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm?
What? Oh my. Surely you were given that. Yeah. The D let me keep it, after I looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and said, "Go on then, have it," before telling him to discard her. Always pays off giving people a look like you ate them.
Can't help feeling that's gonna get you into serious trouble one day.
What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc, mind.
Music box,
The music box disc.
Mr. Windybank said it was practically worthless.
I think I'm gonna go and have another bash. Give him a long hard stare.
I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't enter Mr. Windybanks again today.
Why not? That's not fair.
Can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Windybank.
Well, that disc's mine. I had a ticket for this coat, and it was in the coat's pocket. And there should be something else and all. That's what that rotten cove said, ain't it?
I'm sorry that Gina's voice is all over the place. I genuinely struggle with her voice so much. Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he?
Well then, that's mine too. Whatever it is.
Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day.
Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes.
So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening?
Eh.
Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure. And I might entertain you with a modest violin recital.
Nota.
Oh.
Why would I come around to your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something? Oh dear, she's gone.
Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well, then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening.
And one more thing.
And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later, too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you.
Oh, how exciting. What is it?
You shall have to wait and see, Miss Susato. Until later, then. Oh gosh, I just realized I have to do Iris's voice again.
Ah, Susie and Runo. Come in, come in.
Good afternoon, Iris.
Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already.
Busy as always?
I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening.
Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you?
Oh yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. You'll never guess.
Look at those little eyes of hers shining.
Oh dear. It is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny. Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise. Yes, that's wonderful news.
Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. Oh, that's so cute. Look at this. They're in Iris's and Shulm's outfits. That's adorable.
I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional.
Oh yes, that does sound like fun.
I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo?
By the way, Iris, what is Mr. Shulm's up to?
Hurley? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back.
Hello, Mr. Shulms. I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that.
I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything.
Yes, I see.
Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes. Hurley does. Mr. Shulms and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they?
Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are.
What's the matter, Runo? You have ever such a funny look on your face.
Oh no, it's nothing.
I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Shulms, you're wondering? Am I right?
How? How did you?
Oh, Runo, I can read you like a book.
This girl is dangerous.
Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind.
So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGilded case 2 months ago, right?
Yes, you also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although, after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're best of friends. I give her addresses and she leaves pipe bombs in their mailbox. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, what a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can.
Iris.
Oh. And I chase her down the back, and I chase after her down the back alleys.
Interesting idea of friendship.
And then I let her have the latest color smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There's so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow.
I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you?
Yes, that's right. I got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same when I shoot him with it now.
Poor Hurley.
Oh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited.
I just hope she does actually come.
I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you?
Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents?
My mommy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Mummy passed away when I was born. And at around the same time, my father... Well, he had to go to a faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on.
Oh. Wait a minute. Did you say Ian Hurley?
Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together.
She didn't mention that before.
He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there.
Really? You recorded them all?
And so, you mean it's true? Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases. Oh yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it?
So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father?
Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look even more, and so I opened it up. And found your father's memoirs. Yes, so I asked Hurley. Who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. But then he told me. That's when I found out the author of all those accounts was my father.
Ugh, Iris, your voice's threat is shredding my throat. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner.
I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. And so, it came as quite the shock. When Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy, I mean...
He must have done.
I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say his ways have rubbed off on me. There's some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying. Before they open their mouths sometimes.
Wow. Right.
Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, actually. I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he's solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. And so the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone.
You can say that again.
You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see.
Great. So that means that, at least Unless it's a coincidence, which I doubt this game is gonna roll with. That means that, Iris's dad was the victim in the first case.
And that's what prompted me to study and study, so that I could earn a doctorate as well.
Iris's father went to some distant land. And is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. Court will now hear trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right. Visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. Miss Susato,
Yes?
perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time.
I think that would be for the best.
Ah, my dear fellows, how good to see you.
Mr. Sholmes?
Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We live in your attic, buddy. We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really?
Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed?
My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear madame?
Oh,
Never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows.
oh, another music box disc.
No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilded's disc.
Oh my.
Then what's it doing here? You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that, though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well be even more adept at larceny.
Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught.
Right.
And plus, Susie has such beautiful handwriting. She could write all of our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted.
I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. Oh, so have you made a copy of it?
That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes.
Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. You're taking that whatever it is to McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars like this. That's amazing. The disc and all its minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution.
How extraordinary.
Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves to be very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press in its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. The more we go into this, the more opportunities present themselves for pipe bomb jokes. Yes, it sounds illegal. Don't you worry, Naruhodo-san. I have placed multiple cameras inside of your consultancy. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played.
Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What music does the disc play?
Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not.
Goodness, you don't know, Runo? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. And small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music box is to be invented using a rotating cylinder with protuberances in it.
But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe.
Why exactly?
Welcome back, Nautilus. Because the discs are easy to produce, and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result.
It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present.
But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one of the firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There's no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. I see. So that's why. Naturally, I tested the disc on those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe.
Every single one? That's Hurley for you. Always taking things too far.
But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in that trial.
The newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case.
Murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed.
Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long.
Thank you, Iris.
Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do.
I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes. You may be right.
Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windybank said earlier. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he?
Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe.
So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh yes, the idea of such a wonderful story, languishing in Mr. Windybank's storeroom gathering dust.
My dear madame, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it. More secure than a bank's vault.
And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure?
Well, there may be the occasional mix-up. Caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now.
Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it.
War? Did Susato sneak into the back room and read it? What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room?
Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's...
It's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course.
But Bruno, The Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published.
What?
When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet.
I don't understand.
And that's why he said he'd keep it safe. Until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see.
So that's why the manuscript is at Windybanks.
And yet, how could Susie know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on?
Ah. What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. There she is. Miss Lestrade.
This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going.
No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris?
Oh yes, just wait there, Ginny. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home.
Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come on in. What say you to some... Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer. Meddlesome it is, then. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome. And Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night. Gina's a good bean. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it?
Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine.
I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now.
And best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something, I wonder?
What's the matter, Susato-san?
It's about the telegram I received.
Ah. The one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose.
I've been summoned.
What? Summoned? What do you mean?
The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me.
The Lord Chief Justice? When?
Tomorrow morning.
What? Then we have to start preparing at once.
Oh, no. That won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone.
Alone? What on earth for?
I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow.
What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Oh, who could that be, I wonder?
Good evening, friends.
Ah, Iris. Hello again.
And Gina, too. Yes, Ginny's gonna stay with us tonight. She's gonna sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Ginny? Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what in particular? All those things Ginny showed us. Wasn't it wonderful?
Ah, you mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we?
I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it.
You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour?
Well, you see, I came to return this.
Wait, what? That's mine!
Oh my, however did you? I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius.
And so anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though.
Ah, thank you.
Alright then, good night.
Yes, good night.
And so this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny? I think I wouldn't fancy me chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this. Yes, me too.
Seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about.
I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript.
Yes, I suppose she probably does.
Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please. Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris. Not at all. I don't know what all this is about, really, but... It's a story you made up, is it, Iris? This manuscript, or whatever you call it.
I've lost Gina's voice, it's gone.
It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but... My daddy was Hurley's assistant once, his partner. Yeah. They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is that right, mister?
Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though.
And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. And so I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. And so, where's your old man now, then? He had to go away on urgent business, to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So I've never really met him. Oh, right.
Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. I will be back in just a moment. Sorry about that. I needed to go and get more water. Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story. I take it that it's another tale inspired by your father's accounts.
That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow, from the other cases, I mean.
Oh? How?
I don't really know, but it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it and showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I'd ever seen him like that.
It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris. But this story must not be published at this time. Under any circumstances.
But why not? It's one of my best works.
I'm not at liberty to say. Not now. So please do not ask me.
Alright then, I won't.
But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. I'm realizing that Sholmes' voice is just slipping more and more down the Edgeworth pipeline. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windybank, isn't it?
Yes. Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. It's mean, it's what it is, keeping secrets like that.
I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. He said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it. I'm sure there must have been a very good reason.
I think so too. You lot are too trusting for your own good. But you can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it.
What?
Hurley's lying to me?
I've realized that I don't know anything about your parents, Gina.
I ain't got any, have I? Never did, or never did have. Oh. Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born. Not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. And so that's why you're a pickpocket. Nah, Davon's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it.
Gosh. Gina, I love Gina a lot, but voicing her lines is really hard.
Oh, Gina. I do think about it sometimes. What would it be like to have parents, I mean? I always thought it'd make everything right. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Oh. I mean, if you know you never had them, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet them. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Iris.
Gina, what did you mean when you said you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris?
Well, he reckons he popped that mantle script or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my. Why would you think that, Gina? It's simple. If that story really was an old Windybank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. I'm sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that, I'm sure of it. Huh. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Windybank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? Oh, but I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean, I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though I know it's wrong of me to doubt him.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris.
Oh my goodness, look at the time. Come along, Ginny. We should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you?
No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina.
You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist. Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night, then.
Iris sure is Iris. Sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult. But deep down, she's still just a child.
Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san.
Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father. But also, the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. It can't be a mere coincidence. And there's something deeper going on.
Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo.
Voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. Oh, that was a really good, Susato impression, Mr. Sholmes. And what's going on? It's the middle of the night. It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home. But I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me, look out of the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? Did she break into Windy Banks? I think I remember something about her breaking into Windy Banks, yep. I think just after this next little bit is where I've played to in this case. Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night? That is Mr. Windybank's pawnbroker, eh? Mr. Windybanks. Oh no.
It's simple. If that story really was in old Windybank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. I'm sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you.
Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Oh, no. No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate.
At once.
Miss Susato. The door to Windy Banks. It's open.
And the lamp is burning.
It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is.
Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes!
What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them, go! Right. Blast. I've lost them. Hello, hello, what have we here? Oh. The alarm was just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policemen close behind me, I ran back to Windy Banks.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Naruhodo.
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina!
Great. I think that is where I stopped playing. Somehow. I'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. After them, go! Behind that door, in the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina? From that moment, Windy Bank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn before I was allowed back into my lodgings at 221B. Oh, Iris.
A telegram came, but all it said was, wait at home.
Oh, yes. We asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back.
When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Runo?
Poor Iris. She's trembling. She's obviously trying hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know.
Something awful has happened, hasn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windybank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning.
Oh, yes, I had a feeling.
You did?
Well, I saw all of those police carriages pulling up outside his shop. And so I knew something must have happened there.
When we entered Windybanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of two thugs. They ran out onto the street, and I chased after them, but they got away.
And so it was one of them who shot Mr. Windybank, I suppose.
I don't know, but it's not what the police believe at the moment.
Oh, why not?
They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina.
Ginny? But why?
Well, thing is,
No! Ginny wouldn't do something like that.
I know. None of us think she did it.
Then why have they arrested her?
I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do.
I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the two thugs that were at the scene? Why weren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they?
No, I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris.
And this is all so horrible.
The thing is, Mr. Windybank was found on the floor in the storeroom, where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside.
I see.
But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well.
Oh no.
And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards.
Don't tell me. There was no one else in the room.
Yes, exactly. How did you know?
It's the only explanation.
Yes, the only explanation indeed.
What do you mean by that, Bruno? Well,
What can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't.
so where's Hurley then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals.
I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to the hospital this morning.
What?
Well, When we entered Windy Banks, a gun was fired and took a bullet.
Hurley? Was shot? No. No.
It's alright. His life isn't in danger.
Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital?
He's at St. Sinner's. They're tending to him there.
I must see him at once.
I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't.
Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed.
No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see.
To operate? Oh, poor Hurley.
It was the two thugs who were in Mr. Windybank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them. Go! After that, I ran out into the street, but... well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I let them get away.
I think that's a very good thing.
Sorry?
Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that.
Oh, Iris.
Where's Susie, Bruno?
She's still at the police station.
Oh, why?
I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while.
Why aren't you there then?
Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Miss Susato stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later.
Ah, I see.
Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving so early.
You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station.
I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment, but I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on.
I want to go too. Take me with you, Bruno. I can't just stand around here waiting.
I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder, but I don't want to leave her alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me.
Oh yes, I'd love to.
Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed.
And don't forget, we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation.
I can see you're ready for action. Imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later.
Hurley! Oh. He's not here.
No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she?
Oh, I know what's probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby, and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home.
Not so sure about that. Baby or not, There's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered.
Oh,
Hello, hello, what have we here? Sport is off limits, no visiting. What are you doing here, eh?
well, I'll have you know, we're Hurley's next of kin.
Eh? Oh. Well, begging your pardon then, ma'am, sir. Little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. Great mystery solvers, this mysterious family, eh? If that's how you see us, sure.
Where is he, Constable? Where is Hurley?
I believe he's currently in the operating theater, ma'am. Undergoing an extensive operation.
Extensive.
It's been several hours since he went in.
Oh dear. Is he going to be alright?
Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is. Oh.
Oh,
I've heard the report that the gentleman claims to have had too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that he won't be back here for several hours yet. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later.
oh, poor Hurley.
What does your chart say, Mr. Herlock Sholmes? I can't check it. I bet we're gonna rock up to Windybank's pawnbrokery. Gregson's gonna be there, and he's gonna see Iris and be like, yep, go right on ahead.
This is where it happened then. Last night.
That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place, looking for valuables.
But apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance.
No, you're right about that, actually.
In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking.
I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals, all dressed in black. Boy, I heard that. Oh, Inspector. Good morning. Suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. Got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind? Yes, I'm sorry about that.
I thought you'd assigned extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty.
Your ladyship! No one told me you were coming.
I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley, and see that he has the very best medical care.
Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are tending to him as we speak.
And I don't think it's Bruno's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job.
Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am, as you say. The gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that. Would you believe it? It's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change. Oh, where are me manners? You thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice refreshing fruit juice?
Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me if you'd like some.
Ah, lovely. Thank you very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. I don't even recognize him like this.
Gregson, I demand that you take full responsibility for Sholmes getting shot. You know what will happen if you don't you? Alright then, let's see what we can uncover.
What do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here. Oh, but we're hoping to investigate. This is a crime scene, for Pete's sake. No touching.
What's the problem, Gregsy? Runa's a lawyer, you know that.
Oh, I'm ever so sorry, your ladyship. Ever so sorry. Rules and regulations are a thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo was to have been properly appointed by the accused, that'd be another matter. The accused? You could show me some representation papers. I'd be only too happy to let you nose around.
Did you hear that, Runo? You need Ginny to sign some representation papers.
Looks like presenting the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. So, how's the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. It's a very simple case, this. This is some very definitive evidence. We just about to charge that diver we arrested last night, in fact. Gina? You're going to charge her? That's right. We'll be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow.
Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me.
Ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid.
Ah, I see. You want another pipe bomb in your mailbox, don't you, Gregson?
No, your ladyship. I would never.
You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you?
What the?
And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you?
How could you? How? How could you possibly know that?
I had a feeling, that's all.
Remind me never to try to keep a secret from Iris. You say that, but you're actively keeping a secret from Iris currently, Ryu. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you? Well, yes. Rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat. And Miss Lestrade is being held at the prison. She should be. Assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential.
Well, I know he's being operated on at St. Sinner's. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know.
I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visiting at all.
Oh.
Bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood.
Oh no.
Didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so. A hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know? Well, anyway, he's having an emergency surgery right now. Gotta stop that bleeding. You know, that sounds anything but stable. Like, if you are actively hemorrhaging blood, like, that is a big problem.
But he'll be alright, won't he? They'll be able to make him better?
Of course, your ladyship. He'll be right as rain before you know it.
Really? How do you know?
How do I know? Well, because, of course. Yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why. We better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again.
Oh dear. Please don't die, Hurley.
Report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theater. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. Gets what she wants by threatening people with pipe bombs. That's the headcanon, yes. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? Out with it, sunshine. Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch the sauce, sonny. I'm a copper. We don't go in for favoritism.
But he's right. You do treat us differently.
It's because of those adventures of Herlock Sholmes' stories. That's why. Oh. Crop up in them, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson.
Oh, well, yes. Because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's.
What did you write about the Inspector, Iris?
I don't remember, really.
It's one of Sholmes' lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it.
Oh, did I write that?
You know what that one line did for me, eh? Very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. Well, because everyone at the yard reads them. They read all the Herlock Sholmes stories. He even set up a fan club for me.
Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time that you became such a toady to me.
You blame me? All it'd take is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregson? No. Your detective will say, he's getting quite overrated these days. Think what would happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. Can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost to worrying about it.
But that would never happen, Gregsy.
Every month when the new Ranced magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages.
Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves.
Ah, lovely. Ta very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. Tea... Todial? Oh yeah. Something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, what is it? I've got an important message from you. I clean forgot about it until now. An important message? I wonder what it could be. Are you gonna tell me what this important message is then, Inspector? No, I just thought I'd bring it up so I could hold it over your head. Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side, your assistant.
Dear Susie, is she alright?
She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe? Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. One of the whipstocks took her there in the yard carriage after we'd finished questioning her. She asked us to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey and to go and meet her there. And she's got a nerve using Scotland Yard as a bloomin' messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector.
Why did Susie have to go see the Lord Chief Justice?
She didn't tell me. But I'd better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. Very, front-loaded investigation. Yes. No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow.
Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal.
How so?
I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you?
Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust?
Yes, thank you very much.
And there they are, Susato-san and Lord Strongheart.
I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious.
Very good. There's nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. Wait, what did he just say? Your return to your homeland? Susato-san!
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
What was that all about? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What's this all about? Why were you talking about Miss Susato's return to her homeland? And... tomorrow?
Tomorrow? But what about Ginny's trial? You mean... she's been formally charged now. Oh dear.
Miss Susato, what's this all about?
Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue just as it has.
It's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving?
It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh no!
Professor Mikotoba? If I may. Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from Europe, or from the Empire of Japan, informing us of the news.
10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. And it seems he grows weaker day by day.
I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely.
I'll leave London first thing tomorrow morning.
Can't believe this is happening.
So Gina has been charged. She'll have to appear in court?
Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow.
No, not even 24 hours later?
Gina. Ah, the Lestrade girl and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. All true transpicuous case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot man in panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is without wasting time on these open and shut cases.
It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that.
Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart? In defense of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child to my office. Leave now.
Of course, Lord Strongheart.
Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. Police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend.
Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, yes. Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday.
It is of no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that.
Transpicuous is basically transparent or clear. Playing this game made you learn so much more vocab you're not used to.
3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me.
There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart.
Which is?
It's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her.
A timely suggestion.
Sorry?
The girl currently has no representation.
But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial.
Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right.
Why would she do that?
A question you would do well to ask it to direct at Miss Lestrade. You'll find her at the local prison.
Yes, thank you.
Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you.
What a day. Gina charged with murder. Susato-san about to leave. Guess we gotta take care of this in one day so Susato can still be our assistant for the rest of this trial. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie... You'll find her at the local prison. Sounds like one of those commercial sales line. It's like coming to a theater near you. It's like that same like style of statement. You're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? Yeah, get your own blanket, your local Walmart type of deal, yeah. As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I may... Wow, I nearly read that as in whatever way I can. In whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. It's a very pensive look. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can, as a lawyer. Hello, Gina. They let her keep the smoke grenade. Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Hurley and I made. Wish she wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for? Jenny. I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble. So we're here thinking that we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry? You heard. Get lost. Never paid enough to deal with it. Don't be like that, Ginny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't. You think you know me? Pull the other one. You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's how I get by.
The way I said can't in Gina's voice came out. That's actually pretty funny. I'm I thought that a little bit, but I was like, no, I think I pronounced the A like ah properly, and that no, it came out. It very much did come out like that, didn't it?
And if I saw me chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just to see what I could lay my hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am. But Ginny... I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. And some cove came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or the like. And said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed.
And it is very in character for Gina, isn't it?
I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one.
She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried.
Why are you being like this, Ginny?
Ouch. That is one stern look Susato-san is giving Gina. I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away?
He wanted me to sign some papers. Representation papers or something like that.
Susato phases into existence. Yeah. Susato, where the hell did you just come from? You just, like, materialized.
It's all gonna be rigged anyway. The whole trial. They'll pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that? Because that's how it's always been for me. Growing up in the back slums me whole life. If you do what the grown-ups tell you, it'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers, or worse. I've had it happen to me before and all. Been sold out and nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one, that's the point. As soon as you do, you're gone to grass, dead.
Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could...
Forget it. Ginny! Don't you trust Runo? Nah, I don't. Look, I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone.
Not used to the word coppers being used to refer to the police. That's fair. Most of the time that I hear copper, it's like... my brain immediately goes to, like, D&D. Because I'm a nerd. Will you tell us what happened to Gina? Last night at the pawnbrokers. Just leave me alone, insert Sakura meme.
There's nothing to tell. I figured it'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. But the old bloke walked in on me, and you know the rest. But why, Ginny? Why would you do that? Ain't it obvious? The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two.
I swear, Gina's voice is so all over the place. I definitely need to work on trying to do more accents, because, like, I genuinely struggle really hard trying to do Gina's accent with this.
Diving ain't easy, you know? It's a lot of work. And half the time you don't even get nothing.
Is that really why you broke into the place?
What?
Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Gina is probably my favorite side character from this game. Which is saying something, because that's also a slot that's occupied by Iris and Sholmes and Susato, which are all fantastic characters, but Gina is just... she's great. I love her design. Like, her design is fantastic. Her personality is great. And she's also a gremlin who commits crimes. Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else?
Oh, give it a rest. What'd be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Ginny. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me? Don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to liars, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies?
Overall character, you gotta give it to Mr. Barrock, totally not a Victorian vampire Von Zieks. Yeah. Like, Van Zieks hits this spot of, like, he is really damn high on my favorite prosecutors list because he's so over the top. Like, the fucking drinking wine in the middle of court, slamming his leg onto the table to object because he has his hands full. It's just, he's so good. This game has such good characters, and it makes me really excited for the Great Ace Attorney 2. Because that one, unlike this game, I am entirely blind to the Great Ace Attorney 2. I have not touched it in the slightest. He's over the top and no one objects to him at all. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies?
What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help.
I'm sorry. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Ginny, please. Oh, yeah. I wanted to give you this. It's something to remember me by.
It reminds you of Godot, where he just has a clerk keeping him up with coffee. Yeah. Photographic print. A really adorable cat.
I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't no point in me having it. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in the pocket of the overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Oh, Ginny. Gina. I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Farewell? Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home. To Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I've had so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it'll be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. And Susie. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right. I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they're so clearly unhappy. Because of you. Well, it's my fault. Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now. I want you to show the both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Eh. Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. And what about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't.
Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but... is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial. The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted. The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what it's about?
Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe.
Will you tell us about it now?
Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got a hold of me and shoved me to the witness stand.
And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff.
I knew it.
And what sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. Couldn't see a thing, and then... I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor.
And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you.
Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by. When I looked at me hands, they had the cove's blood all over them. I was so scared. Couldn't even speak.
Had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight.
Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were and why you were hiding under the seat. Yeah, he did. Only that's not all.
What do you mean?
I mean, he threatened me.
Threatened you how?
He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard. And about what he was gonna do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I would tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarper before the coppers showed up.
I've completely lost the British accent. It's official. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. Whew. You said McGilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch-black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you?
Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but... It was when I heard the thud of the covert in the floor. I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGilded heard that.
Heard that.
And dragged me out by my arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed.
Case 3 is such a good case in this game.
A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc?
Do you mean...
Yeah, that's it. The one what D took off me at Windy Banks.
What the D took off me? So the music box disc was there on the floor of the omnibus.
Not for long. McGilded spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it inside his pocket.
So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder.
And the bog trotter told me. I went to mutter a word of it to no one. Because it was so dark under the seat in the cab. I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin.
Presumably that was McGilded getting on board.
Nah, not only him.
Oh,
Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people.
at what point do I just stop trying to do the British accent?
In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilded and the victim.
Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason.
In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he slept during the carriage ride.
But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and always succumb to it.
And your own testimony, Gina, supported his.
We really had to, flash in and out for that?
All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time, in low voices.
What? What were they talking about?
Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and wheels was too loud.
Wow, that was not an English accent. What accent even was that?
But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilded and the victim knew each other.
So McGilded was lying, as I suspected.
I knew it wasn't gonna take long before someone raised the alarm on the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. And so when the cab came to a stop, McGilded told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. And 2 cops from up on top ran to get the coppers.
Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First.
Right, and after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favor.
Favor?
Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas.
A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street?
Yep, you got it. It was Windy Banks. The coachie snapped up the money and ran off to pop his coat as fast as he could. And so then there was no one left in the carriage. McGilded opened the box under the seat. And let me go out of there. But not without conditions. I see.
What were McGilded's conditions, then? For letting you go free, I mean.
Not telling a soul. Not for anything. About what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well.
There's more?
Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said.
I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me, with some small change in his hand. Now then, did he hear what I asked of him? Did he see anything at all? At all?
You asked him to go pop your weasel, right?
Aye. That fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand?
What? You want me to have the ticket?
That's right. I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then, is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it.
Alright then.
And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windy Bakes. So it is, you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited, and any old fiend could come along and buy it.
But I ain't got that kind of brass.
Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now if you go against me.
Yeah, I get it.
Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt.
The coppers?
Aye, they'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say, and what is it that you won't? Man, Mr. McGilded really was a scumbag. Good thing he got what's coming to him.
After he'd gone over it all, I pegged it. And got as far away from there as I could. He had the pawnbroker's ticket on some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark.
So Mr. McGilded planned it. And coerced Gina into giving false testimony.
I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied. In that big old courtroom. Told some corkers.
Workers?
The thing is, he said he would make it so we wouldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man.
Wait, what did that... He would make it so he couldn't live in the East End no more, yeah.
He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us. And we was all just looking out for each other by getting together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would've... In an heartbeat. Could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where would we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice.
Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything.
But... I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid.
Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor.
Favor? What?
What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. Police won't let us.
Investigate what?
The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see.
You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? And Sholmes is gonna be alright, right?
That's why I want to investigate. For Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything.
Right. And so what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it?
Something like that. Miss Susato?
Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely.
Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windy Banks now.
Yes, and perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done there.
I feel like we've finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. Now I have her representation papers. No one else knows what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now that means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windy Banks. Although something tells me he's not gonna be happy about it. Investigation Part 4? I just want to get to trial gameplay, please. So now the question is, do I want to end stream a little bit early, because this is a really good stopping point? Or do I want to push forward and actually investigate the scene of the crime? I think we'll investigate for a little bit. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers.
Your ladyship? How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is.
I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
I need some of that. Lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, yes. I hardly feel tired at all. Fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened? Through that door behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. And that's where I discovered Mr. Windybank. And Gina. Right, well, we're getting back to business, then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. And afford to spend too much time on it. There's so many articles to go through, it's taking forever. With the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine.
Come then, let's not waste any time.
Ah, look here.
Oh yes, a bullet hole. And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall.
Presumably, Mr. Windybank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time.
Well... Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that.
Sorry?
It's all there in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It's quite a dangerous pastime.
He doesn't do it often? Shouldn't even do it once.
Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet.
What is it around the bullet hole? Is it blood? Suspicious red stain on the calendar.
Aha! I may well be able to help with that.
Oh great, are we gonna get scientific investigation? What?
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo?
I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris.
I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. And there you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes, what a scientific observation.
And so you need this.
Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing?
Hurley and I actually haven't come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch.
Oh, color of the bloodstain has changed.
There. Does it make sense now?
Yes, I think I'm starting to understand.
Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see? Yes. How wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. And so you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at, in a flash.
Well, that's not quite correct, but...
Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great.
So whose blood are we looking at then?
Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color, and you'll know who it belongs to. In a flash.
It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it?
1 flash or 2, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make note of it in the court record.
Oh wait, we're getting a whole ass portfolio of blood samples?
Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have reagent left, sure.
I'd imagine that reagent isn't very easy to come by. It's that strange contraption though that lets you see pictures of things that are as if they're right in front of your eyes. Wow. Makes you think, when Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we're blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. And this officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. It's a major clue just here.
Really? Then we must tell Gregsy at once.
As soon as I report it, that'll be it. We'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? Haven't been home in 2 days already. Need another constable to relieve me and take over me shift. They really have a tough time, the British police. Wow, that was a noise.
That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it?
No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at.
These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. That is one hell of a sentence.
Yes, it's a really strange... It's a really strange... Miscellany? Miscellany? I assume that this is like, the root word of this is miscellaneous, but... I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example?
Well, sometimes you can find real treasures among all the junk, you know? Are you alright, Runo?
Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole. When you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you own them. And that horse statue.
That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever.
Police are scouring every inch of this place, by the look of it. Instructions from the yard to examine every article in the shop, and every ledger on the book of accounts. Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all, in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. Even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. Crime in a pawnbroker's. Must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know, a crime in a pawnbroker's.
That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo?
Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan.
Oh, well, this'll be a treat. Shall we have a listen? What do you think? Isn't that a pretty sound?
It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks.
Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word.
Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard to examine every article in the shop. Every article, but that's a ridiculous amount of work. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. It's literally carbon copy dialogue. Why are there two of you here, then? There's the article ledger there. And Mr. Windybank's notes and... What's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. It's the same one that we have in our pocket.
Oh, look, on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie, show us.
That blood? 15th of February, 10:30 p.m.
15th of February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th of April, 10:30 p.m.
Gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1? Clearly it was a very fine coat, in fact, I think.
Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday.
And is still wearing. Belonged to Mint Gilded. I never would have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
It seems Mr. Windybank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand.
But this photograph of a cat, it looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier.
Of course. I was forgetting that she gave us that print.
Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out.
Alright, let the cogs turn. They are very slightly different. I don't know if y'all can see that, but the cat is very slightly turned more towards the camera on the right. They are not exactly the same. You can tell it a lot more easily by the shape of the cat's body under its head on both sides are different in each picture.
Yes, they're exactly the same.
Well, the one on the counter was used as a redemption ticket. Perhaps the other photograph that Gina gave us has something written on the back, too.
I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret.
A secret? What does she mean?
You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really, really want to know?
Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windybank's counter, and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret that you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints?
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry?
If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
They're not?
Have another look at them now. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other?
I think so. It's very subtle, though.
But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Well, it's because they're a set, you see.
No, I don't.
This pair of photographs.
Oh!
Is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment.
Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently?
Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there.
Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
What? Really?
Do you know a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Let her explain, though. We really need to carry on investigating the scene.
I, for one, simply have to know.
And here's the funny thing. That's actually not a bad place to stop. Okay, we'll pick up with, how photographic prints can be viewed in 3D tomorrow. This is especially funny when you consider that this is a port of a 3DS game, and you could actually, like, use the stereoscopic 3D on the 3DS to give you that bit of extra depth. But anyway, give me just a sec and we'll find someone to raid. Exclamation point Discord if you want to join the Discord. Exclamation point socials if you want to check out my YouTube or my Blue Sky, where I post my art. Otherwise, give me just a moment and we will find someone to raid. Oh, wait, I forgot to adjust my mic. There we go. There she is. Fire the raid cannons directly at Sin. Every time. No, not every time, but it does feel like I've been raiding Sin a lot. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I should be back with more of this tomorrow. I really want to stream Mario RPG the day after, but it doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to finish this tonight, or not tonight, tomorrow night, because you know how Ace Attorney be. The last cases are usually like 12-hour cases. So I guess we'll figure that out as we go, but anyway, I guess have a good one and take care.